Hello, thank you for participating in this webinar, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today as one of the speaker. As a lead business analyst at Royal Cyber, I've been involved in various practices with Adobe Commerce being a key focus. My experience in the e-commerce domain has fueled my passion for learning about cutting-edge technologies and innovations. And one such topic we will be delving into shortly is composable commerce, of course. Additionally, I'm pleased to introduce our main speaker from Adobe, Maddie Rakovich. Hello, Maddie.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Like Pooja said, I'm Maddie, a commerce solutions consultant at Adobe, and I've been in the digital and commerce ecosystem for almost 10 years, from digital marketing to platform implementations. At Adobe, I love helping our B2C and B2B customers determine if Adobe is the right technology for their business needs and goals. I'm excited to discuss composable commerce with you all and share the insights I have learned along the way.
Thanks, Maddie, for your introduction.
Of
I
course.
believe before deep diving into composable commerce topic, right, we should first understand how the e-commerce world is working today and what's trending currently, right? So, Maddie, could you help us understand the current e-commerce landscape, of course, highlighting some of the key trends and customer demands?
Certainly. So we know that our customers are looking for digital experience platforms that provide an integrated set of technologies to enable that composition, management, delivery, and optimization of contextualized digital experiences across multi-experience customer journeys. So not only are customers seeking out a product or products with exceptional core capabilities, they also want the ability to integrate with other capabilities. Think headless content, digital commerce, asset management systems, marketing automation platforms, and more. So from a commerce perspective, we're seeing an increase in artificial intelligence and machine learning to drive those stronger levels of personalization. As we know, personalization uses AI insights to create those individualized experiences for our customers. And the quality of your data is really important here. That data plays a big part in creating those personalized experiences as well. So knowing and truly understanding your customer is extremely beneficial because your customers want to feel known. They want to know that you as a company care about them in the sense of their past purchase behaviors, their site behaviors, things that are individual to them. And creating those highly relevant experiences for them really reflects that. So we also know that headless and API driven e-commerce is continuing to evolve and gain popularity. And headless implementations and architecture provides that level of control that businesses have been seeking. So I see this a lot with content and marketing teams and development teams. You remove that dev dependency and you see content and marketing initiatives soar. And we'll probably touch on that a little bit deeper later on.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary, for helping us understand, how the current e-commerce landscape works. Would you also like to let us know some of the real-world examples of companies that have successfully adopted to these different trends that you just talked about using Adobe Commerce?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll share an example from my previous role. Before Adobe, I worked at a implementation partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with a well-known US-based variety store chain that leveraged headless architecture using Adobe Experience Manager and Commerce. And with decoupling the front end and the back end, it was so obvious that they were able to streamline their content authoring, marketing initiatives, and more without the constraints of the traditional software development lifecycle that you typically see in monolithic platforms. So with decoupling the front end and the back end, the customer was able to streamline their content authoring, their marketing initiatives, and more without the constraints of the traditional software development cycle with a traditional monolithic platform. So after the initial product learning curve, their business users and content users and day-to-day users, their tasks became more efficient, more streamlined, and more impactful. So after the initial product learning curve, their business users and content users' day-to-day tasks became more efficient, more streamlined, and overall more impactful to the business metrics. With this headless implementation, they were able to leverage additional third-party applications and extensions to create a more personalized experience for their customers. One example is after login, their geolocation tool was able to identify the nearest stores to you. That's probably one of my favorite uses of customer data and personalization, because it drives me crazy how one US-based pharmacy chain always thinks I'm in Chicago when I log in. Even after changing my zip code. So it's the little things that are incorporated into a site that are really impactful to a customer's experience.
That's nice. That was a nice example, Mary.
Yeah, thank you. And I know we both have implementation experience, like I just referenced. So I'm sure you have some thoughts to share with us on the current and future state of retail and e-commerce platforms. Do you mind sharing some of those insights with us?
Oh, definitely. So, one thing I love about these webinars and events is the diversity we have, and the real breadth of retailers in the room. So that's from the startups to the more established retail and e-commerce businesses, right? I
Yeah.
would venture that the best spend points are often shared by many on the call, right? Where everyone is at the terms of their own individual tech solutions journey today, and is probably quite unique as well. To start with, I would like to throw some light on the e-commerce suits today. Let me talk about the monolithic platforms first, to which most of the audience is already familiar with, right? These monolithic platforms are nothing but encompassing many components that have either been built or acquired like over a long time, then integrated with other components to make it all work together, in theory, of course. And for a long time, a single vendor would provide all the things, including marketing, commerce, payments, delivery, etc., to deliver an online shopping experience. And one of the inherent challenges, with monolithic platforms is that their individual functions are standardized and they cannot be customized easily. So different retailers are using the same suite or e-commerce platform and end up with very similar customer experience instead of unique or differentiated one, right? And let me explain the word suit as I'm talking, and I will be talking a lot about suits, in the lateral part as well. Basically, suits are nothing but the different e-commerce tech stack or the e-commerce engine, or you can even say platform that you use for your to run your businesses. Coming back to the original topic, the overall management of monolithic tech stack is very complex. Retailers have become encumbered with queue changes, updates, or upgrades, and limiting their ability to innovate, differentiate, and grow as well. Performing any change in the part of the suit, I can say it can be a Herculean task, right? Every time a new update is queued, you need to plan everything meticulously, regression test it, and the fun point is your team is on call during all this time. Performing an upgrade like often translates into downtime and disruption to the business operations. We all know the term, right? Thank God it didn't happen to us. Stories kind of thing when retailer side goes down, a busy period. So I think let's not forget about homegrown solutions that have been built up over time as well. Built in by where you may also see combinations of different custom and monolithic suits as well, right? And retailers who have been using this, they are very often reluctant to let them go as well, because they are very attached to the systems that they have designed over a period of time. And even if it does not work despite failing of the system, right? Uh, they also have a fear of moving to the other platforms, right? Because they think that they have made a huge effort, and that went into building the homegrown platforms as well. With either a homegrown or suits, there's always an argument whether you're going with the best of breed for each of the module or capability. That's already there in the suit. And you might hear this, that this cannot be a good outcome as well, even if you have worked lots of module together, right? And I would say a classic example of best of suit is like it's not as good as best of breed, right? In when it comes to search or discovery. And I've yet to see the search capability in any commerce suite on the market that can compete against the big names like Algolia, Cleaver, Bloombridge. So I think that's the thought behind all these different legacy systems, or I would say monolith, or those kind of tech stacks.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. The experiences you shared there kind of brought up some memories of my days in the implementation world. And yes, I definitely know that. Thank God that didn't happen to us scenario all too well. But there were a lot of valuable insights there. So thank you for sharing that. And, as we navigate through the intricacies of e-commerce platforms and the challenges posed by monolithic platforms, we know it's essential to consider the broader implications. So, especially for consultancies operating in today's dynamic business landscape. So,
Agreed.
as
Yeah.
a yeah, so like as a consultancy, what does that mean in today's world?
Oh, that's that. I would really like to answer that question because, from the technical perspective, I myself belong to the consultancy firm as well, right? So, if you look at today's leaders in commerce, right, most have been there around for some time and have built up features and capabilities to cater most of the requirements that on paper appear to meet a retailer's needs, of course. These platforms are built using different software development methods that were contemporary at a time. For example, you're familiar with the keywords, right, like Java, Spring, MVC, PHP, or for that matter, .NET as well. Now, a lot of these features may have somewhat become redundant because they were built using old templates. They even access legacy APIs as well, or they were designed to work with previous version of another vendor software itself, and that was since updated, and integration now doesn't work as well, of any scenario, right? um I may be committing here, say here, a lot of cases. What you're buying in suit that's been around there for some time is a technical lead. Sorry for the word technical lead. Yeah, consider architectures and development methods that were used to build the system can fall behind and become out of date, and it often takes a lot of time to marry legacy stack with the newer systems, right? Referring to the headless that I'm sure most of the retailers here are familiar with, this is where a lot of issues with integration are, and it's not easy to re-engineer a specific module that was built with the web interface that was incorporated into the design, to then redesign it and lost control over how the view aspect works and behaves to a third party relation that provides a headed or front end services. I think that that what is supposed to be out of box is unusable in modern e-commerce deployments. The modular components are often outdated and need to be remediated during implementation. Testing across suits takes forever because it's very complicated,
Mhm.
particularly when it comes to regression testing, right? And I would say list goes on. There are a lot of points to talk about. But yeah,
Yeah.
with all these points, basically you are already accommodating a technical debt, the legacy platform that you want to avoid, and why you should pay for it, right? In business terms, you don't want to take steps backwards, right? And because you are spending money and time is remediating vendor problems in your project. As a result, suit based projects often take a lot of time to get into production at, of course, a higher cost. And with less features than originally scoped, right? Because of the time and budget constraint. I guess we have been very familiar with the scope in, scope out kind of terms as well, right?
Mhm.
And there is one further observation that's very important. Software suit vendors have the same issues as the retailers as well. when building and maintaining their problems and then the platforms. They're trying to build innovation and new features into each module in the suite, and the competition for funding and resources against constrained R&D budget for each module is fierce. The backlog of new feature requests that compete and priorities, and it goes on with the budget and time as well. New feature release time takes a longer time, and then the Suite platform itself starts slipping behind. Other more from the other more innovative vendors. So I think if I compare all this, right, then as a consultancy, of course, we would never go for any legacy platforms, and we always try to suggest the new platforms along with some innovations and technologies. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I really couldn't agree with you more, because I know that developing, implementing, and managing a monolithic platform is a delicate art form. And it's something that we are continuously trying to perfect. Right. So I'm curious if you can further explain maybe what that means for customers who are still on a monolithic or homegrown platform.
Oh, definitely, Maddie, I can answer that. So, let's look at the start of the retailer's journey with new deployments on a monolithic platform. Let's to be fair here, right? There are use cases where these type of platforms may be better choice for retailers. So I'm not against of legacy platforms, but yeah, the project team works with the commerce manager, marketer, customer service, and tech teams to deliver the project, right? Then the retailer gets on a BAU for first 6 months. They bed down the new platform and iron out the defects. However, there's that list of new features, right? So-called new features that didn't make the cut into production move slowly goes into the backlog. If the organization continues to invest in the platform, these new features will get implemented. But many don't, right? Right? Like when we scope out the features initially, it's the MVP phase and then the new features, but till they actually reach to the production, and once they're done, they even forget about the new features, right? So during this time, there's a very little time for innovation or disruption or other initiative that gives a retailer any competitive advantage, is what I think. And looking in the background, there's a technical debt that continues to grow as the platform becomes more outdated. Then there's a managing the platform after go live. That is another headache, right? DevOps businesses tend to have much heavier hand in managing monolith platforms with, say a SaaS pure play composable platform. By comparison against composable, right? The retailer generally spends more time with more resources and more tools to manage the monolith. So as I said, I'm not against of monolith or legacy platforms, but yeah, there are some of these, the key points that we should definitely consider. Apologies, guys, right? I've been using the term technical debt a lot, but I think that was that is what is happening with most of the legacy platform systems right now. Do you agree, Maddie, here? Like, because you've been in the industry since long, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know technical debt is something that I've seen most, and I don't know if I'm being like over exaggerating there, but every implementation I've worked on, if I've hopped on in the middle of it or we're maintaining a website, there's usually some degree of technical debt that exists.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to avoid at this
The
point.
term itself looks very scary, I know. Okay,
Yes.
so Mary, what are your thoughts on, headless and composable commerce? Do you think headless or composable commerce can solve business issues who are still dealing with monolith platforms and architecture?
Yes, I do have a lot of thoughts here, and I'm not sure how much time I have left, but the short answer is yes. I do think headless and composable commerce can solve business issues that are evident in traditional monolithic platforms, but I don't think it'll solve every business issue a customer has. First, I want to mention that headless and composable commerce may seem similar, but the main difference is the level of independence of the different website components. Headless commerce has somewhat evolved into composable commerce with time. And this architecture goes beyond front end and back end split. That includes the idea of modular technologies like puzzle pieces that don't interfere with the performance of others. So, headless architecture can speed up development time and reduces the time to switch between the parts of a website. It can also contribute improvements in speed, site metrics, and search results positions. And composable commerce focuses on employing the best solutions and replacing those underperforming parts. So while headless approach lets you accelerate website loading and add a few new features to the front end or back end, composable commerce also aims to solve more specific business use cases and pain points. So there is a lot to take in consideration during like such an evaluation. It's really dependent on the specific needs, time, and budget our customers have. And, we're always open to having those conversations with our customers to determine the right implementation for their business. So what we know is that businesses need products that drive innovation. You can have all of the services and best in class architecture, but if it takes too long to launch content or products, or even a campaign or expand your businesses to new markets, then you're not going to be able to innovate fast enough.
That was really informative, Mary. And I think you've pretty well explained, the headless versus composable commerce overview. Would you also like to narrow down some of the benefits of both architectures, so that the audience here can understand about it more from technical perspective as well?
Yeah, of course. So headless commerce architecture typically forms a crucial component of the composable commerce ecosystem. But headless architecture doesn't mean a business has adopted a composable commerce approach just yet. With headless, like I mentioned, you're simply decoupling the front end and the back end from each other, and they communicate via API. The back end does not generate the front end, and numerous front ends can actually be connected to one back end as a central hub.
Mm-hmm.
So with composable commerce, all parts, not only the front end, are independent of one another. So merchants typically don't rely on one platform. They can introduce anything they want at any time they want. And so I think that explains a lot of the benefits for businesses right there. It can really empower businesses to select which products address their specific business needs, and you can join those pieces together in any configuration you'd like. The caveat is that it's up to you to craft the most structurally sound and efficient build. And of course, you can lean on companies like myself and Royal Cyber to help you determine those pieces.
Mm.
So there are so many benefits to headless architecture. We know that it provides freedom, like you're able to introduce new technologies, scale, or experiment with less friction. And there's that level of enhanced performance and faster load times that comes with a headless CMS. There's also a level of flexibility for front-end developers that can't be ignored. So with the separation of the content and presentation, your developers can iterate faster and implement those changes without disrupting content production. So beyond the flexibility and enhanced performance, the scalability, smoother upgrades and maintenance, and that seamless cross-platform and multi-channel content delivery pretty much round out the headless architecture benefits.
I think those are very informative. And I guess those are very, a key benefits I would say that most of the businesses look for when it comes to composable commerce, right? So yeah, I agree with this.
Yeah, I feel like every conversation when we're talking about headless or composable architecture really starts with what are the benefits. So
Hmm.
understanding them and having really intentional conversations internally with your business and kind of what your future needs are goes a long way in kind of matching those benefits with your needs and your goals.
Right.
Yeah. So I know I've talked a little bit about the benefits of headless here, but I'd like to shift gears to the concept of composable commerce. I know that is what we're talking about here. So, Pooja, can you go into some more detail about composable, and maybe for layman's terms, how does that work for retailers?
Oh, I think this is a question for me because sometimes if business people do not understand what they're actually implementing, it can be a nightmare for them. And I think talking it from the layman's perspective is very important for businesses, right? So I think as a composable system combines different independent and interchangeable components that can be added, swapped, or dropped at any time, right? These components work well together, and they very well communicate via API first approach, and but essentially independent of each other, right? So they can be easily plugged and play functionality kind of features according to the business needs. This fully flexible approach allows you to maximize the benefits of a build and buy, wherein you can buy commoditized functions like cart or search and discovery, and build what's unique to your business, of course, right? Plus, you get to choose the best of breed product that suits your requirements and budget, and you don't need to be locked within the vendor's capability, right? Um, I'd like to, worth mentioning is that, a truly composable system is not bound to any walled garden or proprietary technology, right? It offers complete freedom to select your code, integrate and run your own application without requiring to learn any kind of, frameworks or getting certifications, of course. Summarizing and a composable tech stacks tackle adaptability head on, of course, to that. And with a modular and interchangeable approach, this modern approach enables you to select, integrate, and manage a different collection of tools and features that best works with your business. And this is my kind of layman term, right? Basically, attach anything with whatever part you want and make it work, right? Of course, a layman language, right? Because I myself am, a kind of a functional person where when it comes to a business, they need to understand how your business is supposed to work, right? So yeah, this
Yeah,
is how it is.
it's like a puzzle piece,
Right.
puzzle pieces. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Correct.
Um, yeah, thank you for that. And I know, internally, Adobe uses the term a la carte to
Mhm.
describe that composability, like giving the customer the ability to pick and choose which features and functionalities best suit their needs. So, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
awesome. So, Pooja, according to you, what can retailers offer those who are on composable and composable commerce platforms if compared to those on legacy platforms?
I think this is the most relevant question when it comes to, composable commerce, as I do hear this kind of question from most of our clients and retailers as well. So what I've noticed is that there are many common statements from the retailers who are moving to, composable commerce architecture, and I'd like to mention some of those. So the very first one is freedom to experiment, iterate, and quickly roll out the best commerce experiences, for their customer needs. Then agility and ability to innovate so that they can create a truly unique and differentiated shopping experiences. Smaller deployments means minimized risk rather than having to deploy the entire application, right? Then increase scalability and flexibility because you can reallocate human and technical resources to where they're needed and not just to the whole platform, right? Then quickly adopt to the changes in the market. And I also think the speed to market is the most important outcome. With this comes flexibility and also a lower cost and risk. And innovation, of course, will be a close second to the speed to market, which naturally comes with increased speed to market. Of course, that is how it works together, right? And gelled up together. Then last but not the least is the reward. there has to be a benefit from everything from the retailer's perspective, right? And of course, financially from the customer satisfaction perspective as well, right? I think, these are the most common statements, or the common business requirements from most of our businesses or retailers, who are willing to move to composable commerce. We do here. I think you would also agree to this, Mary, right? Because whenever any client come to us, these are the most relevant requirements that come from them, isn't it? So,
Yes. I would definitely agree with you there. I'm hearing a lot of familiar terms there.
right. So Mary, I think, we can definitely relate with these terms and hear from retailers about queries specific to composable commerce. Next term that comes into my mind is, microservices, right? So after learning about what retailers or merchants may provide with composable commerce, let's take a closer look at microservices. Okay. Can you maybe help us understand how does Adobe Commerce leverage microservices with its architecture?
Yes, yes, of course. Microservices, I would say, is a newer term we're hearing. It's something we're definitely leveraging in a lot of our evolving technology as well, especially as it relates to composable commerce. So, Adobe Adobe enables businesses to build an agile commerce platform. With Adobe Commerce, we look at composability in three different buckets. We have core capabilities, advanced capabilities, and some of those bespoke needs, those
Mm-hmm.
further advanced customizations. So we provide that scalable commerce foundation that contains all of the core capabilities that our commerce platform requires out of the box. So that's managing catalog and rendering catalog data, product data search, account management, so on and so forth. With our advanced capabilities, businesses can leverage our packaged business services, which are our intelligent multi-tenant SaaS features like live search, product
Mm-hmm.
recommendations, and our intelligent merchandising service. So I kind of, again, this is essentially that pick and choose feature. You can pick and choose what you want to use within your commerce foundation platform. And
Right.
then, yeah, so it's kind of yeah, pick what suits you best. And with customers with those bespoke needs, these are typically customers that have some degree of customization, in which there may be a requirement that is not fulfilled by our out-of-the-box capabilities. So with the introduction of App Builder, our serverless developer platform that is included as part of the Adobe Commerce license, customers can now build full stack applications and serverless microservices on this platform. So App Builder, what it does is it essentially extends Adobe Commerce capabilities to fit your needs. So we have kind of like a layered foundation at this point if we leverage microservices in that way.
Perfect. I think I like the word, and the term pick and choose what you want to use, right? That was
Yeah.
really insightful. So I think, in your opinion, some of the crucial and significant considerations, right, when you think about microservice approach, do you have anything in your mind when you think about this?
Yes, yes, definitely. I think one thing that partners and customers are typically dealing with is a lot of overhead, and the overhead is primarily around data. That's a common thing we see. So you can get microservices, you can choose a cart, choose a PIM, and the recommendation engine that suits your needs. And you can try to compose all of those services together. But the problem that customers are running into is the data. And the
Mm-hmm.
cart, like a cart and a checkout microservice by itself is essentially useless. It needs your data from the catalog. It needs real-time pricing. It may need access to order services to actually create the order. So essentially, if you have 10 to 15 microservices that are running, you're essentially building these mini integrations between those services, which actually increases a lot of that overhead if your data is not clean. So the building of the microservices and APIs is not the challenge. again, the challenge is how you actually keep the data in sync across all of those services to make sure that every service is getting access to the right data to make the right decision for the transaction. So it's not about the composability of it or not, it's whether or not it's the right decision for your business. Like, do you have the resources, the time, the budget to ensure that your data is clean and optimal, but also that the components that make up your microservices are efficiently powered by that optimal data?
Agreed. Data, plays a very crucial role, right, everywhere.
It's a big one, definitely.
Mhm.
And um I know there are some well-known challenges with microservices, and it's more often than not, again, data. So in my opinion, retailers and merchants can work closely with an integration partner to clean up and manage their data to execute those seamless integrations and microservices.
That's a very important kind of merge when it comes to integration partner, and how the data can be seamlessly integrated within the microservices. That's very important. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a symbiotic relationship for sure.
right, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I know we've talked about vendors and partners before, and how important they are. Do you think that integration partners can help businesses maximize their capabilities using
Hmm.
composable commerce? And if so, in what ways?
I think integration partners for me are likely a key to the lock, I would say, when it comes to implementing such kind of capabilities into your business. So I think the partner ecosystem adds another element to it, right? It's not just the composable vendor ecosystem, but the implementation partner ecosystem that is very vibrant too. At Royal Cyber, we've built different accelerators for broad composable use cases. For example, Adobe Commerce, we have platform accelerators to launch your commerce website to the market very quickly. Then we do have some B2B connectors with Adobe Experience Manager. We also have AM integration with some of the other commerce platforms, which is Commerce Stores is one of them. Then we do have some marketplace extensions specific to the Adobe Commerce, right? Like ChatGPT extensions, Magento Voice Search, AI, post-sale engagement, and source system management. And of course, then there are some advanced retailing capabilities that should be easily plugged in, right? We do have our own 3D Plus product that helps you with 3D product visualizers. Then we do have personalized and visual search capabilities, kind of tools and accelerators. We also have product recommendations, and express checkout is also another one. We do have as our in-house products. And yes, we are still innovating, right, from Adobe Commerce perspective.
Always, always, always innovating because,
Mhm.
as we know, this landscape is so dynamic and it's always changing. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you. I think this brings a lot to the table, right? It definitely helps dispel the myths related to the complexities of a composable stack. And you mentioned maybe previously that those accelerators you've seen, 6-week implementations
Correct.
where
Yeah.
on average an implementation of that size would take, I don't know, 3 months to start realizing value.
Right. Yeah.
So, and you mentioned that most of the time, that time discrepancy is spent on the integrations, right? So kind of figuring out your data. Is your data clean? Does it work with these integrations? And then, that's really where those composable solutions are addressing.
Mhm. I think, this is a really important question when it comes to choosing a correct platform or project management system, or you can also say choosing a correct approaches for implementation of your project, right? As per me, composable just does not mean to undertake a big bang replacement of your legacy monolith or homegrown commerce platform, right? You can also apply one or multiple pieces at the same time, depending on your budget, time, and risk appetite as well. Composable architecture does not prescribe a specific project approach when migrating from monolith legacy platforms. So, however, these technology is extremely well suited to the incremental or even a very granular approach. For example, you could replace just a basket, and then you can go for search result, and then you can go for content components on the home page, or big bang always, or like one move at a time, I would say. Agile methodology lends itself, a very well implementing composable products. If you examine when agile methods have been applied to monolith platforms, they still tend to be big bang. The scrums undertake agile development, right? But this is a stage gate into the planning, development, testing, typical SDLC cycle, right? The result is not much different to the previous ways of managing projects. So here, I would, like to introduce our Adobe Composable Commerce Accelerator, and I'll talk about it more in the lateral part. But I surely would like to explain what exactly it is and what is the architecture of it. Now that we are talking about composable platform, of course, right? Let me share my screen. I'll just show you the architecture of the accelerator, right? I hope everyone can see my screen. So Mike, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, so I'll just give some brief overview of what our accelerator it is about, right? So the main objective of the accelerator is harness the capabilities of Adobe Composable Commerce, right? And its integrated technologies to create an agile, customer-centric, and data-driven e-commerce ecosystems, that drive growth, foster customers' loyalty, and positions the business for sustainable success in the digital dynamic commerce landscape. Uh, Let me give you some insights around the architecture. The architecture is very modular and is built on a composable principle, wherein each commerce stack is broken into multiple composable components, and we can easily customize or replace or extend these components based on your business requirements. The accelerator has also pre-built templates, UI components, and different functional modules that can help any e-commerce businesses build the foundation of their websites and applications. So instead of building, everything from scratch, businesses can leverage these pre-existing elements, uh, saving time and effort. It is highly customizable. All the components templates are designed to be, easily adjusted and personalized. Businesses can modify the appearance, structure, and functionality to align with their brand identity and specific requirements. The high level customization also allows businesses to adapt the pre built elements to reflect their brand's visual identity, ensuring a consistent and branded look and feel, of course. It also enables businesses to meet their unique functionality needs without starting the development process from the square one, right? As I said before, we have some core feature extensions already ready within our accelerator, such as product, checkout, or cart promotions, price codes, and just name it, right? Our API extensions also allow seamless integration and interactions with external systems, third-party services, and custom applications. We do have the integration hub, which offers seamless connections and the integration of third-party services and tools with the different e-commerce applications. It also has, different extensions specific to search, payments, cloud OMS, CRM, and ERP as well. It simplifies the complex process of integrating essential services into the e-commerce application. It also serves as a centralized platform. It becomes very easier for businesses to manage and maintain connections with various third party services from just one location, right? Its architecture is a very scalable, and the businesses can ensure that it can get added or updated as their business needs evolve, right? Can you see the architecture now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the overall architecture of the Composable Commerce Accelerator, which is mostly focused on B2B customers. So as you know, right, Adobe Commerce is our commerce engine considered as base platform within the architecture which you can currently see. We are using Adobe Commerce API Mesh and the App Builder to integrate with our accelerator along with different composable platforms. The integration code base is, created different extension for these apps and added as individual extensions within our accelerator. We can, once we enable each of these extensions, you will be able to use all these different apps within Adobe Commerce. As I said before, the platform is API based and modular. It's plug and play solution with all these third party apps as modules will be available. Whichever is needed by business, of course, they can just go ahead and simply enable it within the accelerator and they can start using it. It's that easy. We have added different, apps like AEM, Contentful extension for CMS, and we have Akinio. We have Fluent Commerce for AMS, Salesforce for CRM, Avalara for taxes, Stripe for payment, Yacht for customer ratings and reviews, and we do have Talent Wellness promotion engine, and we do have Dot Digital for omni-channel marketing. We also integrated our Accelerator with different Gen AI tools that will help SEO marketing content, campaigns, analytics data, and different recommendations data as well. So currently, we have considered these platforms that are showcased in this architecture at this moment from the partner's perspective. But yeah, as we move forward, right, we will keep on adding these different possible extensions that the businesses would like to connect with their Adobe Commerce platform. So yeah, this is the overall architecture, everyone. So if you know anything related to the architecture or if it's not so clear, we are open to questions anytime, right? Yeah. So I think, yeah, this is how it works.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you stop the recording? Yeah, so wonderful. I like how you emphasize the importance of considering budget, timing, and risk appetite. I know that that's a huge conversation to have and huge considerations to consider. So I also love how you highlighted the that composable architecture doesn't mandate a big bang replacement of legacy systems, but that businesses can gradually, introduce components based on their needs. It sounds like the Composable Commerce Accelerator is great for businesses that want to take their technology one step further because of its modular architecture, the pre-built templates, and that high level of customization if needed. And we love that it integrates with Adobe Commerce and various extensions, which, again, provides that plug and play solution for businesses.
That's true. Adobe Commerce is the focus. So, and now I wouldn't be a retailer at heart, like if I didn't propose this. So we would, be delighted to prove this to any of the retailers here in the audience, maybe who are interested. So the offer is open to engage with any of you on assessing whether composable commerce is a right option or the choice for your business. And we can help your business up and running, using the supercharge Adobe Composable Commerce Accelerator. So I think this could be the either an initial discussion with you, right? Or if anyone is open to it, we normally typically run a discovery session and then subsequently run a workshop where we propose options to the retailer for consideration. I like to look at this as a FOMO, right? If you don't have a fear of missing out when other retailers are on composable already and moving at a faster innovation rate than you are, then you better go out and get some FOMO around composable commerce. Okay. So, as we bring this webinar to a close, I would really like to thank you, thank you for being a part of this insightful webinar on composable commerce. And your active participation and engagement have contributed the success to this session. Thank you so much, and thanks, Maddie, as well for being one of the main speaker of this. Maddie, I think we have already received some questions from the audience. I think, are you excited to answer those?
Oh, definitely, of course. Bring them on, bring them on.
Okay, I just go with the questions one by one. The very first question is this, Maddie. With this, can you confirm whether you can do things quicker and more cost effectively on composable than on suits or monolith platforms? I think I would like to answer this because this is interesting one. Essentially it all comes down to whatever, matrix that the business thrives on, net present value, the time to market, and TCO that are accounted for. The analysts such as Gartner or Forrester, which you very well know, right? They have analyzed enough composable implementations to state that almost all cases, the combination agile project methods and composable is proving to have a lower bit, and run the cost of software routes is also very lower. Uh, there's no dispute that the retailer needs to apply due diligence in selecting capabilities from multiple vendors, right? And then what is selecting with a single vendor suite based stack. I would say in a nutshell, answer to this question, working with composable commerce should result in shorter build, integration and deployment times, leading to lower TCO. I hope this answers your question. Okay. I guess the second question is, why is personalization so important in the customer journey? Do you like to
Yeah,
answer this one?
yeah, I can take this one. I think personalization is so important to the customer journey because there's a variety of reasons, but I think the main reason being that it enhances the customer's experience. It personalization can really tailor to their individual preferences and their behaviors. And by delivering content and recommendations and interactions that align with the customer's interests, businesses can create more engaging and enjoyable experiences. And that kind of reflection of personalization and like a degree of like, I guess, personal customization, for lack of a better term, really bonds the customer to the brand, and then you see benefits of brand loyalty, repeat purchases, and so on and so forth. So I think once you can leverage the customer data to activate personalization on your site, um, you may have a customer, for life. So I think that personalization is huge.
No, I think that's, that I totally agree because personalization nowadays, we are listening from every other customer around personalization, and we know how, important this is when it comes to customer journey. Yeah, that definitely answers the question as for me.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, how fast can your accelerator help us with our businesses and running? Oh, that's nice. And other than some best-of-breed third-party apps, can your accelerator mold itself with other extensions if my business wants to use some other third-party apps? Oh, thanks whoever has asked this question. Definitely I'll answer this one. We do have our jumpstart packages ready with the accelerator. So you can start your MVP phase one, which is your minimum viable product phase, of course, with whatever requirements you would like to start with, and you know that you can start within 4 to 8 weeks. And if you would like to do some additional customization with the additional extensions other than the one which we have pre-built on the accelerator, of course it might take some additional time as per requirements, but yes, it's not it's possible, of course, right? So we can connect with you if you need any additional information around the accelerator and services. So yeah, if you're interested in the accelerator, we are happy to jump on the call with you. Thanks for this question though. Okay, the next one is, what strategies or tools help drive personalization in Adobe Commerce? I think Maddie, you can answer this because you already answered the personalization related question, right?
Yes, we love personalization at Adobe Commerce. So, in Adobe Commerce today, our merchants can leverage a few tools. We have intelligent category merchandising,
Mhm,
intelligent re-ranking,
mhm,
which is kind of like a step beyond our visual merchandiser.
Mhm.
And then product recommendations powered by Adobe Sensei, which uses that artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to perform that deep analysis of aggregated visitor data. So it's not too granular, but you get more of a holistic view of some of the behaviors and actions taken by customers as a whole. Um, but yeah, there's definitely a few tools you can leverage. Also, dynamic content, leveraging dynamic blocks, as well as customer segmentation and customer groups.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because we've been also using Adobe Sensei, right, for these different AI related innovations that we have been doing. So yeah, these tools are definitely helpful when it comes to personalization. Thanks,
Yeah,
Mary.
yeah, of
I
course.
think we do have one more question. What are the business benefits of moving towards composable architecture? I think, Mary, would you like to answer this one too?
Yeah, of course, of course. So what comes to mind immediately is the agility and flexibility you get with composable architecture. We've really emphasized the freedom that comes along with composable architecture, and that freedom to innovate and experiment without the complexity and intricacies that you sometimes find when you experiment in a monolithic or legacy platform or architecture. So I think it provides businesses with a strategic advantage in innovation and agility, with the agility and flexibility that aligns with the dynamic nature of the digital landscape. So we know things are constantly evolving, things move at a faster pace. So composable architecture can really allow you to keep up and stay ahead at the same time. So I think that's super beneficial.
Yeah, I think, and we've also talked about these benefits before as well. But yeah, the major benefit I would also like to, emphasize is on agility and flexibility, definitely, because as I used the term before, right, attach anything with anything, literally. So, that is the term matches here perfectly. So I think thanks a lot, Maddie, for again making us understand the the benefits around the architecture of composable commerce. Thanks a lot.